Our next presenter is Jason Zurawski. He's going to talk about Engagement and Performance Operations Center established jointly by IU and ESnet.
All right, thank you, and thank you everybody for coming to listen to some of these great talks today. I think there's already been a lot of stuff that I've walked away with and hearing about some of the great things that Compass is going to do in collaboration with a lot of these other CI centers that exist today. First thing I do want to clear up is that I've heard people say our name a couple of different ways, and we get this a lot. EPOC, because it looks like it's spelled that way. We actually pronounce it EPIC, but we're not too worried about that. Who are we? We are a joint project between Indiana and ESnet, as Ilya alluded to, and we're a part of the CC STAR program that has funded a lot of the campus cyber infrastructure that exists out there in the world. We're in our 4th year right now. And what we've tried to do is heavily leverage a lot of these partnerships, whether they be with networking, whether they be with infrastructure. I guess something bad happened there. Networking, infrastructure, and science communities that span these different funding agencies. We do have an end-to-end focus as this flickers in and out, and that does drive a lot of what we try to do. We look at the perspective of CI as being created somewhere. You know, science has to have an endpoint. And we look at all of the other components of that as being critical to these different workflows. So our direct engagement often has to occur with the end users versus the facilities themselves. And because of that, we try to understand the full pipeline of how all this stuff works, whether it be with the hardware or with the software or with the security aspects, but we're not experts in all of those things, which is why we leverage people from Trusted CI and Compass and a lot of the other CI ecosystem to truly understand what's going on and try to improve science outcomes, because that's really what it's all about for us. So one of the slides that we're often very fond of is that we don't want to treat network as just infrastructure anymore. This is just as much a part of the instrumentation of science as anything else. This is the backbone. This is the backplane that carries the science from where it is created to where it ultimately needs to be operated on by the different individual users. And while we can quibble on connectivity as being critical, it's really the first step. Usability is something that's truly important and something that we strive to have out of these interactions. So we have a couple of focus areas that we try to center in on. First and foremost, and probably our most popular, is what we've termed the roadside assistance and consulting. Think of this as our Ask Us Anything. And much like in the Trusted CI use case, we'll take any question. And if we don't know the answer, we'll figure out somebody who can help answer that. And over the course of the pandemic and prior to that, we've accrued about 225 of these over the project lifetime and counting. We're getting about 10 or so a month anymore. And sometimes these are fast, sometimes these are slow. But at the end of the day, we try to make sure that people walk away with a shared understanding and a good solution. The deeper dives try to investigate science drivers, and we have 10 of these published right now. We have about 6 more in progress. We still have people asking for them. Very popular in ways to try to understand how technology interacts with the cyber ecosystem. We have network analysis via NetSage and PerfSonar, 45 deployments of this right now, trying to understand patterns and how all of this stuff interacts with computation, network, campuses, the other facilities, because without data, you can't really understand how all this stuff works together. We've tried to extend this a little bit more into network service integration, where we look at a critical CI service, whether it be a science DMZ or whether it be a data transfer node. How can we work with our regional operators to make that available to more people? We partnered with the University of South Carolina Cyber Lab, who has multiple cyber training awards, to try to deliver both theory and practical experience in CI components. And then lastly, we have our data mobility exhibition, which we're really ramping up this year. How can we just move research data? This should not be hard. This is a question that we've been asking for 20 plus years at this point. How come we just can't make this routine? And we're trying to get this so that we can have anyone move a terabyte an hour. And this is very achievable. And it's something that we have a lot of help with trying to understand and get to the bottom of it. So our experience here is that there's lots of broken stuff out there. Not everybody knows that it's broken, and not everybody knows how to fix a broken thing. So that's often what we spend most of our time doing. Research workflows are very, very retro, but science requirements are not. And we're spending a lot of time fixing what we would term, pretty easy things. And by providing these little nudges, these little, hey, do it this way, we're able to get a lot of utility out of the things that we're able to work with the people who come and ask us questions for. And everybody is going to have a role in trying to make this successful, whether it be the researchers, the leadership, the IT staff, and we try to bring all those people together and make sure that they have that shared understanding as well. So where do we fit into this? We are very operationally focused. We want to make sure that we are approaching this from an operations standpoint and not a research standpoint, because this is critical infrastructure for many people. We try to respond as quickly as we can, and we work on the user's schedule, not our schedule. All our tickets are closed when the person is satisfied with the work that's being done. If it's not done, it stays open. And we have tickets that have been open for multiple years on it at this point. If we don't know the answer, we're going to find somebody who does. And we do want to leverage as many community best practice things as we possibly can. We have a knowledge base that spans decades in this community, and we try to update it and make sure that it's as relevant and valuable as possible. A couple of examples. We talked about this a little bit earlier today, the work that was done at Arecibo with the whole list of partners there. This was a rescue mission that spanned multiple oceans and 10 to 15 different partners. This is the sort of stuff that we live for, being able to try to get data moved where it needs to go to help critical science activities. All of the deep dives have revealed pretty important things that the community needs to start understanding with regards to communication and storage and computational infrastructure, and the monitoring, being able to have the visibility into what's going on. So we're here to help. Doesn't matter who you are, where your funding comes from, what color your money is. We will be there to answer these questions. We do encourage people to reach out. We're as patient as we can be with these things. They take time, and we want to make sure that we walk away with shared understandings. So I'll leave that up there, and if there is any questions, I can take those.